Well, hello, welcome again to our reading of Iliad, Book 2, or selections from that book, and I'm up to line 265. So, at this stage, Thyrsites has reviled Agamemnon. Odysseus has stood up and reproached Thyrsites for having done so. Thyrsites is this very unfortunate, unattractive fellow who's got a bent back and he's bandy-legged and he's very unattractive. So after having said that, after having verbally abused him, now Odysseus is going to physically abuse him, and he says, "Hos te Ephe," and thus he spoke, and plexen from pleso, to strike. This is the aorist without augment. He struck, understand, him with the scepter in his back, the metaphrenon. This is the bit at the back, it's the small of the back. The Greeks thought your mind, your phrane, was actually inside your ear there, and so metaphrenon is the small of the back. And also omo on his two shoulders. This is a dual here. It's just a dual accusative. So he struck him with the scepter on his back and his two shoulders. Hode idnothe. This is from a fairly rare verb, idnoo, and this is the aorist passive here. It means he was bent backwards. So he was bent, this is poor old Thyrsites, he was bent backwards. Thalaron dehoi ekpesi dacru. And a soft tear literally fell out from him, or for him, from ekpipto. Epeson is the aorist. So we translate it as he shed a gentle, soft tear. Now we get lovely word smodix, one of these funny words ending in ix. There's quite a few of these in Greek. You come across them. Aristophanes is quite fond of these words, smodix, and it's a word meaning a bruise, I think here, or a wheel, W-E-A-L, or a bruise. It's a rare word. So a bloodied bruise. Ex hoop aneste. We've got three different prepositions here. So arose up out from under. So a bloody bruise arose up from under his back, his metaphrenu, under, and notice the accent here, so it's going with skate true, under under the power of, really, or almost as a result of, or from the golden scepter. Hode ar hesdeto, ta basin te, and he, accordingly, hesdeto, he sat down, and tarbasen from tabio, and he was terrified. Algesas, being in pain, and now idon akreon, idon means to having seen, but it also can mean to look. So this is having looked uselessly. It's probably an adverb here, so we would say with a helpless look, having looked helplessly. So with a helpless look, so having been caused pain, with a helpless look, apomorxato dacru. This is from apomorgnumi is the verb. Morgnumi is to wipe, apomorgnumi to wipe off, so he wiped away the dacru, the tear. Modern audiences would feel some sympathy for Thyrsites, but of course in the ancient world there's none. I don't think. Homer makes it pretty clear that nobody liked this guy, and he deserved all he got, basically. Hoi de kai aknumenoi pair, and they, now pair with a participle, although. So the rest of them, this is the Achaeans, although grieved, probably at him, against him, Probably not grieved in the sense of feeling sorry for, but rather grieved at what he had spoken before. And I took the apauto as going with this. So they, although being grieved, showing grief against him, hadu gelasen, they laughed. Hadu, well, sweetly, we might say, laughed heartily. From hadu, head or sweet here. Odidatis epes esken. This is one of these little tropes in Homer where he tries to sort of give a generalized statement of what people around about are saying. So he says, thus would a certain man, looking at another man near him, so looking to his neighbour, apesken, there's that iterative form, would say. So it's a kind of generalized statement. This is the sort of thing that someone would say to his neighbour. Oh, popoi. I've seen that one before. It's a funny word there. It's very hard to translate. It's something like oh dear or something. Ade Moria Odysseus. So surely, in fact, Odysseus, orge is a perfect from ergo. I'm afraid to say it's an irregular perfect here. So Odysseus has performed myria, 10,000 good things. So countless, myrias often just means countless in Homer, rather than literally 10,000, but countless good things. Boulas dexarchon agathos, leading us in good counsel. Perhaps inaugurating might be nice here, inaugurating good counsels. And Coruson, well, it's arming himself, I think, for war. So arming for war. Nun detori megareston, but now Erexen from Resdo, he has done the best thing by far, meg ariston, among the has done this thing as the best thing by far among the Argives. So now he has done this. It's this great thing, the best thing among the Argives. He who esque, this is from echo, he's in the sense of held back. So he is put an end, he is restrained, ton, this loberte, it's something like, the ep-esbelon is something like rash talking, one who just throws something into the mix, and loberte is a slanderer. So he has held back from speaking this something like rash talking slanderer. I think one of the other translations says something like scurrilous babbler. Thane, and so Thane is something like surely now. Palin autis, never again, so not then again, will his arrogant spirit, his proud spirit, and ase from anhiami, literally will rise up. So surely now, never again will his proud spirit rise up. And then we get an infinitive, so as to quarrel with kings using shameful words. So to quarrel with shameful words against kings. To revile kings, perhaps better to revile kings with shameful words. Hos fasan he plethus, and thus the plethus, this is the huge, what's the word here, the full host, the multitude, I think would be better, and thus the multitude spoke. So this is what everyone said. Ana de hop tolly porthos Odysseus, and Odysseus, sacker of cities, this is Ptolemy for polis, and forth from Pertho to sack. So thus Odysseus, sacker of cities, the Anagos with the Este, arose, Echo and Skeptron having the sceptre. So thus he stood up holding the sceptre, and grey-eyed Athena was is adverbial here, was beside him. E domine Keruki, likened to a herald. Anoge, she bids, this is from Anoga, she bids the on the host Siopan to be silent, from Siopao. Hos Hama, the hoi protoi kai hostra Riosakeon. And thus at the same time, literally the first and the last sons of the Achaeans. I think this doesn't mean rank, but I think this means that those that are towards the front of the host and those are at the back. Also, those at the front and the back, sons of the Achaeans, might hear, this is an optative, the word, and epiphrasai arto. Now that's that arto for nto, third person plural again. We've seen many times in Homer, and they might take notice of, I think from epiphrasdomai, they might take notice of the boulane of the council. The council which, it's almost the advice here, which, thinking good things to them, he spoke, or perhaps which he spoke to them, being fair-minded, being well disposed to them, and metiepen, and he addressed them, and he said, Atrede, nun desse anax ethelusia kaioi. Unfortunately, I'm going to go to the next page here. So, son of Atreus, now Lord, now indeed, the Achaeans, and we're going to hold the set for a minute. So, son of Atreus, now indeed, the Achaeans wish, O Lord, here, they wish, or they want, Pasin elenkiston themenai. This is a funny expression here. To themenai from Tithamius is in the middle. It's something like to regard, and now the set you, as being elekiston, the most despised. And the pasin goes with the meropesin brotoisin. Merop simply means a human being, mortal, and protos is mortal as well. So it's amongst all of humanity, amongst all human beings. So the Achaeans now, O Lord Agamemnon, they intend or wish to regard you as the most despised, most disgraced for all mortal men. Nor ek teleusin, now this is a future, I think, with the sigma dropped out, nor will they fulfill, now the toy is either indeed or soy for you, perhaps the latter, nor will they fulfill to you the hoop oskesin, there's a verb hupisneomai, to promise, this is the abstract noun, first declension, and nor will they fulfill for you the promise which indeed, hoop estan from hoopistemi, which means to undertake, so which they undertook. Stay contests, having come here, well, the et is funny here, I think, having still come here from horse nourishing Argos. So it's almost which they still undertook here, having come from horse rearing Argos. So they made this promise, and they've undertook it, and they've still undertaken it even here, coming from horse-rearing Argos, horse-nourishing Argos. The promise that they would, so after verbs of promising or nouns of promising here, we get a future infinitive, so it's apo ne esthai with a sigma dropped out, that they would return home. Now we get an aorist participle from pertho, so after they have sacked Ilion with its beautiful walls, well-walled Ilium. So just to do that a bit quickly, so nor will they fulfill for you the promise which they indeed undertook, even here, having come from horse-rearing Argos, that they would return home after they had sacked Ilion with its beautiful walled or well-walled Ilium. Hos tega epedes neore kairoi togenaikes alailusin. Now the te here, this is enclitic, so it's hard to know whether that accent's coming from te. It's probably not here. It's not thus, I don't think, here. The accent on the enclitic te. So it's hos in the sense of like. So for, the main verb is here, oduramai, to wail or lament. So they now, they wail. It's almost like youthful young men, youthful children, and widowed women. They weep among one another. Ne esthai, again, is probably a future infinitive here, so as to return home. So a slightly tricky line there, I think. So for they, like, now this is from nearos, which is a word meaning youthful. So for they, like youthful youths, youthful children, and widowed and women who are widowed, they weep among one another so as to return home. Amen kaiponos estin aniathentani esthai. And indeed, surely also, it is upon us, there is trouble, so as to return home. Aniathenta, this is a aorist passive participle from aniao. Ania is grief, so this is a passive participle here, meaning, and it's in the accusative, so meaning like to be in despair, to be distressed, to be disheartened. So it's something like there is indeed enough grief, enough trouble, understand here, there is enough trouble, enough to make a man who is disheartened, ne esthai, to return home. That's about the best I can do with that. That's a difficult line there, it's slightly obscure in its grammar, but the sense is pretty clear. There is grief enough to make a man return home, one who is disheartened or in distress. Kaiga tis thena mena menon apohes alakoyo. I'll just move it up a bit here. For someone, a certain man, remaining 1 month away from his wife, genitive here, and alakos, although it ends in os, is a feminine noun, and this is that at personal adjective again, so it's got to be feminine adjective, agreeing with alakos, feminine noun, but it means his, of course. So for a certain man remaining for 1 month away from his wife, with the ship with its many benches, I think that is politsugos, a many-benched ship. Askelao means to be impatient, so becomes impatient. It can also mean is in distress, I think. So here is in distress, is impatient. He whom the Eli chimeriae, the Eli blasts of the wintry blasts of wind, and the erinomene, erino is to rise up, so this is the sea having been caused to rise up, so the rising sea, it's a present participle, and the rising sea, this is subjunctive here, I think, so it's from alo or aleo. The two verbs are interchangeable. You get alo and you get aleo, probably the latter with the epsilon there. It means to shut in. So whomever the wintry blasts of wind and the rising sea shut in. Heimin denatos esti peritropion eniatos. But it is the 9th year for us, the 9th year, well, peritropion, revolving, turning around. It is the 9th year revolving around for us. And then in apposition to that we get this dative plural participle here formed from mimno, is another version of meno, to remain. You get meno or mimno as a poetic version of it. It's really a reduplicated present. You get the me, the men is reduced to min here, and you get a reduplicated present. And so this is a participle from mimno. And this is a slight interesting form. It's a dative plural participle here with the esi ending. So just to do that again, so it is for us the 9th year revolving around, for us remaining here. To u nemesidzom Achaeus. Therefore I am not angry with the Achaeans. I do not blame the Achaeans. Askelaan, this is an infinitive from this askelao, to be in distress. I do not find fault with the Achaeans to be in distress beside the curved ships. Allah kai, but also empace, nevertheless, we have to understand esti here, it is a disgraceful thing, toi here I think means indeed, to remain, so both to remain deiron for a long time, and neesthai, and to go home kenion, empty-handed. Teleate, imperative, put up with it, my friends, endure it, my friends. Kai menat epi, again another aorist imperative here, and remain epikairon for a time, ofra for hina, so that da-omen, we've seen that da-o verb before, this is subjunctive from da-o, to learn, so that we might learn. We get a and ae, so whether calcus mantuetai prophesies etion a true thing, a kai uki, or whether he does not. Remember, Calchas is the one who told them they had to go and fight in Troy and bring Helen back. Calchas was the famous seer. He's the one that told them Agamemnon he had to sacrifice his own daughter. So remain here for epikronon for a further time, so that we might learn whether Calchas prophesies truly. It could be adverb here actually because it's neuter. Whether Calchas truly prophesies or whether he does not. And that's the end of this section of Book 2.